Pocket Party. It's the best podcast in town. We got laughs, we got music, we got fun. So come on down and join the party. You won't be sorry.
Oh, Darren Carter, this is wonderful. This music you play is like an angel's chorus to my ear. I cannot wait to promote this show and the wonderful AI that created it for you.
Is this Colonel Tom Parker, Elvis's manager?
Yes, I have once again risen from the grave to promote your show because there are so many people that love Darren Carter and he is the party starter. And you and I are like two lost children, and we are going to promote this show together. And I said, go to Darren's website, the official Darren Carter Party Starter website. We have shirts that say, I love Darren Carter, shirts that say, I hate Darren Carter. It's going to be wonderful.
Pocket Party, it's the best podcast in town.
Wow. We just got taken over by AI. Wow, Elvis songs and Colonel Tom Parker from Beyond the Grave.
Everybody listen to Darren Carter. Yeah. We all know he's the party starter. So if you want to listen to a podcast for free, listen to a Pocket Party. Pocket Party. They're wrong.
And we're back. Hello, everybody. It's your host, Darren Carter, the party starter. I will be in Selma, California, Saturday night, May 20th. Hopefully you have, hopefully that day hasn't passed yet, but if it has, no worries. I will also be in Dallas, Texas, June 8, 9, and 10. And I will be at the St. Louis Funny Bone, June 22, 23, 24, 25. And you can catch me in Las Vegas at the Laugh Factory, July 10, 11, 12. And also, don't forget, if you want to hire me for CAMEO, go to cameo.com. By the way, all the links are on my link tree, which you can find on my Instagram. I know I'm having you guys jump all over the place, but that's how it works these days. You go to Linktree, usually you'll see all the important links that people want you to see. And today we're going to have Mike Black on the line, and let's give him a call right now. And we took some questions. If there's any questions out there.
Arthur at Mike Black Enterprises.
Oh, wow. Is this Mike Black Enterprises?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay, cool. I have Darren Carter on the line for Mike Black.
We're not expecting a call today.
Oh, I think.
How did you get this number?
I think Darren Carter set it up. I'm his assistant. This is Larry Carter.
This is Mr. Black's yoga time.
Oh.
So.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Hold on, let me see. Darren? Yeah, Mike Black? Yeah, he's not available. It's his yogurt time. Oh, okay. He wants to know yes?
Mr. Black just came in the office.
Oh, okay.
I'll put him on.
Okay, good. And I'll go get Mr. Carter.
Fine.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello?
I'm sorry. That guy's new. He's not. He's on a trial basis. I don't know if he's going to be working here.
Oh, no problem. This is Darren. I don't even know what transpired, but we'll figure it out. I have an assistant too. By the way, I work for myself. Do you work for yourself?
I work for myself, but I have a staff of 35 people that work here in my apartment.
Let me ask you a real question. By the way, that's Mike Black, everybody. A round of applause. Yeah.
It's very cramped in here.
How many people, I was going to say, can comfortably fit in your apartment, but then I thought, well, that's depending on their comfort and your comfort. How many people are you comfortable?
I am comfortable with no people in my apartment.
Right, exactly.
To be honest, it may explain why I've amassed so much stuff to block people out.
Hey, I'd love to have you on the couch.
I honestly have a very small. It's what they call an efficiency apartment. It's the kind that most people would find really luxurious in New York, but it's very, very small by LA standards. But it's rent control, and I pretty much just sleep here and leave my stuff here.
It's everything you need. You know, it's like my buddy. He goes, you know what? All I need an apartment for is a launching pad. I'm not trying to stay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like, I use it and then I get out there and I do stuff and, you know, it's like.
Yeah, if I were more of a homebody, it would be upsetting to live this way.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I just go to sleep and then I wake up and I'm usually out the door very shortly after I wake up, you know.
Yeah, you enjoy. That's good though. It gets you out there. Like I notice a lot of times I call you. You're like, hey, I'm on my way to Frank and that place, that Frank place.
Oh yeah, Frank and Sons.
Frank and Sons.
It's kind of like your county fair, except it doesn't suck. It's it's a lot of different merchants in one big warehouse, and it's any kind of pop culture thing that you could possibly desire. You name it.
Wow.
There is a vendor there that has it. Now, the price can go from you can find these amazing deals to you could spend your life savings in one purchase. You know, so it's a pretty amazing place, and it's free, and it's like every Wednesday and Saturday in East LA. Kind of, I want to say near Boyle Heights. I don't really know the geography that well.
Do you just type in the
Angeles,
GPS
as long as I've lived here?
Yeah. Do you just type in the GPS and just zone out until you get there?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. It's funny.
And it's basically I take the 10 to the 60 south, and then eventually I hit it. It's between here and the Brea Improv.
Oh wow! And I guess depending on the time of day you go, it's traffic can, you know.
Yeah, much like the Brea Improv, there you could actually leave later and arrive earlier.
Yeah. Somebody will be like, "I left at 2:00 and I got here at 7," and then you're like, "I left at 6 and got here at 7." So.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how it works that way, but it does.
Okay, I just looked it up. It's in the City of Industry, also noted as the Plaza at Puente Hills. It's sprawling indoor space with vendors selling comic books, trading cards, action figures, and more. Frank and Son collectible show.
It used to just be those things, but now it's moved to like sports memorabilia, vintage video games, a lot of like Japanese import stuff, just pretty much anything you can think of that is popular at all.
Or maybe was, even if it was, or I was gonna say, or was popular, huh? Like, do they have things?
What was that? I'm sorry.
Or it is popular or was popular. Like if there was like a TV show you used to love, and maybe they have like the. Yeah,
if there's any merchandise that came out for anything, it's probably there. They're getting a lot better at it now, but it used to be very, very difficult to find merchandise, even from like the most popular shows. Like I know you're a huge Little House on the Prairie fan. There was hardly any merchandise for that show.
Really?
You know, other than the book that it was based on. But they're like, they could have sold like Michael Landon action figures and stuff like that. Yeah, you know, Little House on the Prairie T-shirts, lunchboxes. They didn't do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And now it's better. If you want, like, you can get a marvelous Miss Maisel toilet cleaner if you want.
Oh gosh.
You know, whatever you're into.
They're like, yeah, saying let's step up here in this 3D printer. What do you want? And they just make it on the spot.
Yeah, there's a bachelor waffle maker. You know, to whatever show you like, they have something for it.
I would like a Archie Bunker blender.
Yeah, that would. He doesn't seem like a blender. Like
you just put it on dingbat. Dingbat.
Yeah, he's more of a separator than a blender.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Like he's on one spool and George Jefferson is on the other.
Yeah. You don't go there mixing it there, dingbat. Oh, Archie. Yeah. We were watching an episode a couple days ago, and And he was looking forward to his footlongs, like for dinner, like these footlong hot dogs, which it just kind of shows you how people's diets were back in 1972 or 73, whatever. Like that was a thing. Like for dinner, we're having footlongs.
Well, you say tomato, I say tomato. That is not dissimilar to my actual diet right now.
But don't you kind of just run into like, oh, we're at Carney's, let's have a hot, I don't like, prepare a meal.
Right. Well, yeah, first of all, I don't have a wife, and I certainly wouldn't call her dingbat if I did.
And she runs, man. Like as soon as he's like, hey, like he got a new watch.
Oh, yeah, like I could... That show is unbelievable by today's standards. If you showed that show to a millennial,
I know,
their head would explode.
I know. All in the family, you guys.
Even like his ultra liberal son on the show,
Meathead,
played by Rob Reiner, would seem like a caveman compared to today.
Yeah, it's really. And there's some really funny things in there, but then there's also like we watched an episode where she got harassed at the. It got sad, man. Like whoa, but then they handle it delicately, and then Oh yeah, I was like,
well,
whoa.
It was the same people made the Jeffersons, and it was very similar where they would have a lot of really great funny stuff, but then these real dramatic parts in there. And it just added to it and made this really high quality storytelling. And I think that caught on, and you started to see it happen in shows like, even on like Happy Days, there were episodes where it got like somber, And
yeah, somber, that's the word I'm looking for, somber, yeah.
They would have, I don't know if you remember, they would have episodes that kind of got made fun of for a while that were called a very special episode, and it kind of meant that it was going to be a much more dramatic episode than usual, And like I remember Different Strokes had a few of those where some sort of tragedy would happen to the family, and there was even like a very special episode of Alf.
Really?
A lot of shows that were just not, you just wouldn't think of that. Night Court, one of the wackiest shows that was ever on TV. They would have very special episodes. It's just a interesting thing. Now audiences are much more sophisticated, and shows aren't even really defined as easily as comedy or drama or what have you. There's a lot of blending of one into the other, or shows that are really terrific dramas will have great humor in them.
Yeah, they and I think even with stand-up, it's okay to do that. I was watching a comedian the other night, Jeff Dye. He was really good. He got the audience to be really quiet, and he was taking his time and talking about Jackie Robinson and baseball and how much he loves sports, and he was the first black player and you're kind of it's creating a little bit of tension and then releasing it with humor, and it was definitely interesting. It was like, okay, this is he was good.
Yeah, it's always cool when you see someone go for a kind of in my head I call it the long con.
Yeah.
Where like the Pryor was a master at that. He would have these long dramatic monologues that would end with this amazing punchline. And I remember Dennis Leary did that in No Cure for Cancer. He did this whole thing about his son being born and how, he was like, I have to be a better person. I need to make this world a better place for this kid that's going to live in it. And I need to start recycling and start taking better care of myself and just basically be a better person because I've brought this life into the world and I'm responsible for his well-being. And then I think, fuck him. I didn't break the planet.
Yeah, exactly.
It's such a good joke, and it's so realistic of how people actually are. You know?
Yeah. And what you might think when you become like a father, and you're like, like.
But it really seemed like, he's going to end the special on this sweet, dramatic note, and then he turned it around.
That's hilarious. By the way, I think I'm going to start doing this more. On Instagram, I said, hey, we're taking questions for the Pocket Party. If you have any questions, send them in. And so far, I got one question, and I think I need to it was kind of my fault.
You're doing a great job, Darren.
I know. I did it I probably should give more notice, like this week, a very special Pocket Party. Yeah.
5 minutes before the show.
Yeah.
Questions.
Any questions? Come on, you sons of bitches. Give me some frickin' questions. But this comes in from Rob Cook Comedy. By the way, another advantage, I'll plug your social media. So at Rob Cook Comedy writes, how did you become a regular in the top comedy clubs? Did you have to start with bucket mics? Do you want to start or should I start?
If you want to start, go ahead.
Okay, I'll start with Laugh Factory. I think Laugh Factory may have been the first club I became a regular at. It could have been the Comedy Store, but I'll just start with Laugh Factory. Back then, you would stand in line to do their open mic on Tuesdays. They took the first 20 people. They probably still do it. I don't know how it works, but back when I did it, the first 20. And at the time, I was living in San Diego. I drove up from San Diego, and I got here about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, thinking I'm here early because they draw the names at 6, and there was already 20 people in line, probably even more, that were waiting for Fallout spots. And I was like, what? I didn't even know. And then somebody was like, you know what? I told them, I was like, yeah, I drove in from San Diego, blah, blah, blah. And they must have seen me or known me. I forget who it was, but they were like, you know what? They go, I've been sitting here all day. I'm done with this. They go, you want my spot? You can have my spot. And I was like, thank you. And so I continued to stand in line for another 4 hours, and I did that. I did that about 3 or 4 times, and then luckily, Jamie Masada, the owner of the Laugh Factory, liked what I did, and he passed me as a regular and wanted to actually represent me. And I remember one of the other comedians was like, "Christmas came early for you, honey." Like
was it Dolly Parton?
Yeah, it was one of the. Yeah, she's like, "Christmas came early," and I was like, "Wow, really?" Because I didn't know anything about L.A. and she'd been here struggling, I guess, and was like did something at the studios during the day, and I was like, wow, this lady from Disney who's also a comedian told me that Christmas came early. This is my big break, whatever. But I did that. I did do that line thing, I didn't do those bucket spots that they do. I guess we do. I guess we sort of do that now at the Comedy Store on Mondays but we're guaranteed to get on.
No, that's a different thing.
Totally different. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely different. It's not as demoralizing. It's a different thing. Every club basically has 2 ways to get in. There is either the hoops that they have you jump through at the open mic level, and that's a very, very effective weeding out process of going I think the Store, it was for when I was an open micer, it was so ridiculous because it was like you came Friday night and signed your name on a list. Then Saturday morning, they would draw names out of the list. There were 40 spots on the sign-up sheet. Of those, 20 would get drawn. And if you got a number, that meant you got a spot the following week.
Wow.
So,
oh my gosh.
So people would come, from all over the country to do this, and they would hear that process, and half of them would go, screw this, I'm not doing that. And so okay, you're not serious about comedy. Bye. For half of those people. Then the other half would go, well, I'm more committed than those guys, and they would stay. And then if they didn't get a number called, half of that group would go, oh, screw this, I'm not doing this anymore. And then, 20 people would get actual spots, which were 3 minutes, and you had to be clean. And of those 20 people, 19 of them would bomb horribly.
Yeah.
Or get made fun of by the host or what have you. And so maybe one would hang around. And the one legitimate comic would hang around. And about a dozen, mentally unstable people that didn't know whether they were bombing or not bombing would stick around also. And it just kind of kept cycling that way, forever. And that lasted well into when Tommy was in charge of things, And so it was just this whole crazy process that was if you have even an ounce of doubt about comedy and your commitment to it, you're not going to make it through that process.
That's great, because it really does. I mean, it gives you a chance, but then it like you said, if it's too easy, then it's it's like
And at the same time, it's not that those people, I'm not saying all those people gave up on comedy altogether. A lot of them just thought, oh, this place isn't for me, or stand-up comedy isn't for me. I'm going to go do improv, which I think can be just as cruel, if not crueler, in the way they decide, which is a lot of times in improv, it was based on you have a lot of money? Well, we're going to string you through along for about 10 years, having you pay for classes with no intention of actually putting you on stage at our stage. You know?
They'll be like, I get to be on the Grandmaster Sunday show or whatever.
Right. That was as good as it ever got. And it was how many years did you study here? 8 years. And each season, how much did you spend? Upwards of $600.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember I took an acting class, and of course your managers and agents, they're telling you okay, this is who we recommend, and this list, and then you kind of you always wonder, are people getting paybacks? I don't know what's going on, kickbacks. I don't know, but so I ended up going to this one teacher, and I really liked him. And then there was a time where I would only take the class on Mondays because I'm like, perfect. I'm not on the road. This is perfect, Mondays. And then he's like, you're a really good actor. I want to move you up to my Thursday class. And then, and I felt kind of, of course, you know how it is. Any glimpse of approval or you're like, wow, I'm a good actor, but you're not getting cast in anything. You're just the teacher's telling you're a good actor. And I was like, wow. And I remember I was still a little bit hesitant because I'm thinking, well, I can't really do Thursdays because I'm out of town. I'm going to only be able to maybe come to class maybe once a month or something. And I remember talking to Jimmy Brogan.
And there's a red flag when they're like, oh, it's okay if you don't make it. Just pay for the class.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fine.
And I talked to Jimmy Brogan about it. And, he used to be the, booker for the Tonight Show with Jay Leno. And he's been around. He had his own sitcom. And he's he knows the business. And he just kind of was like, that's, see if you can just continue to do the Monday class. Don't get caught up in their bullshit, imaginary, world or whatever. So,
I think there are some really good teachers out there. I never really did it because I had studied plenty of acting in school, and I figured if I don't know enough now, then I'm just never going to know enough.
Yeah, and then when you do get
that's a hard thing to have the confidence to say, but what I realized later, looking back, is that's not really what you get from those classes. What you get from those is a network of other people that are at the same level in the industry that you're in, that if you play it right, you can kind of build a strong network moving upward,
Yeah. Totally. That is right. You do get that network of, because I'm still friends with a few of the actors, and they have reached out, and one guy's like, hey, I have an audition. I'm going to be in your neighborhood. Do you want to grab lunch? And then another guy's like, hey, I have this, I want to recommend you for this thing. And so
Yeah.
you're right, you do. But I think as a stand-up comic, you get all those, listen, we were talking about the bucket, back to Rob Cook's question. Did you have to start with the bucket mics? No, I didn't, but there's other types of mics. But nowadays, man, you have the power in your hand with those phones, with those cameras. You film stuff, you get it out there, those clips get cooking, people share them. I mean, they start sizzling, boom, next thing you know, you got a following, and then anybody's going to be way happy to have you on their stage. All levels, for like the Matt Rife level where you're making, millions of fans, playing anywhere you want, every club in the world. I did a show with them recently, and it was sold out like 2 days before, like bam, as soon as he was on the list, whoosh, sold out. Yamashiro was Jeff Dye, Orny Adams, Darren Carter, Matt Rife, and it was people were messaging me like, hey, I'm a big fan. Is there any way? I'm thinking, you're not a big fan. Never heard of you. And plus, I knew something was up when they were like, they looked to be all like young, hot women in their early 20s. Like, oh yeah, you're a big fan of
right.
me. You're my big fan. Okay, cool. Was it my Little House on the Prairie episode that won you over?
Yeah. I love that whole bald old thing that you do.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. How you used to be the rooster, now you're the bald eagle. Like, I just love it. You're like dad jokes on 10. I love it. Yeah, exactly. It's just, but that's the thing. You do have the power because, and I've gotten a glimpse of it. Putting those videos out. The one that has like 3.5 million like views and. People are starting to hit me up. Hey, when are you going to come to Dallas? When are you going to come? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But mine's a small level. I mean, imagine like you really put it out there where you got like a team of people and people sharing your stuff. And you don't. So the key is to get really good comedy that's shareable, that people, that like it so much that they share. And Mike, you guys, let's help Mike out. Go follow him on Instagram and get into his world because he needs a bigger following so he can get a good camera because he's had some killer sets and with his phone, little things go
it
wrong.
Was so bad. It was
I'm sorry that happened, buddy.
Yeah. I did a whole post about how the last time I played at the Comedy Store, I had a really good set, but I didn't record it because I saw kind of like a glare on the lens. And so I thought I was wiping that off, but I accidentally turned off my camera right before the set started.
I know.
So I made this whole ridiculous post about how, you guys should have seen the president of show business was there. Everyone got a free puppy and stuff like that. And in a way, it turned out to be kind of a blessing in disguise because a lot of people who generally haven't looked at my stuff saw this big wall of text and were like, oh, I'm going to read this. And they were like, oh, I like that. That's funny. So
yeah, they're like that. You're like, that's funnier than the clip that I didn't record.
Right. It actually was, I think, so.
Yeah. I noticed like I think phones are okay, but when they're that far away from the stage, it doesn't really zoom in close enough. And it's,
yeah. And you and I have the problem that bald white guys only face, which is a powerful spotlight, just washes us out completely.
Totally.
And it just looks like the Invisible Man is up there performing.
Yeah, especially at the Comedy Store. I went to a camera store once and asked him, hey, how can I adjust this? And the guy goes, it's really difficult with that phone you're using because the black curtain and the whole darkness and then your dark clothes and then just this white glowing
dark
face.
Lighting,
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, and so I learned to, I went, there's a professional for video, like I got his directed specials and stuff. He runs around there. Sometimes you might see him. He put all he's like, okay, let's adjust your camera. And he goes, now take a photo of those adjustments. That way you'll know what settings they're on, but that can help you. But like I said, you guys, if you get the great clips, you get them out there. I've seen it happen for so many people. It can work. It can definitely work, and then it'll get you at least to the next level. Rob Cook, film yourself.
Yeah.
Cut to the punchline. Don't do too much excess. At least for these clips. That way, people like it. They'll look at it, and as opposed to scrolling on with long setups and stuff. And good audio is good, and good video. Like try to zoom in as close to your face as possible. I learned these tips.
Audio is the most important. All the other stuff can be fixed if you have good audio.
Yeah.
But if you have really good audio, and a lot of times what sucks is you'll kill, but the mic is set up to pick up your voice and not the audience's voice. So if you can get something that records the audience very well also.
Totally. Yep. I learned, by the way, I looked at Willie Barcena. Come on, bro. I talked about him a few episodes ago, but Willie's got he's got it down, man. He's a great comic, and he's figured out how to do, he told me to zoom in close to your face and get the good camera, the good audio, get that good quality. Going. But like you said, you got to get the audio. Our next thing, I want to talk about this. Have you messed around with AI at all?
Not really. I mean, yeah, I guess a little bit in video games, but not that I was aware of.
There's like ChatGPT. Well, Google has one called Bard, and I was like, let me just see what it's like. And it's one of those things that's coming, and it can be very scary because it could put a lot of people out of work.
Right.
But if I was like, at the same time, let's just see what it can do. And I will say that it's I used it to create a bio. I said, create a bio for comedian Darren Carter. And it was pretty accurate. There was things I took out that, like it said that I was born in England and things like that. But then
right.
So, I mean, because there's another Darren Carter then I had to refine it a little bit closer and a little bit closer, and then finally I made a pretty good one. Or I would say create descriptions of Darren Carter's Pocket Party episode 178. And then it would say, a description. It was, it was very helpful. And then
was the description accurate?
Pretty accurate. There was parts that were not accurate, but there was a lot that will. But here, I wrote create jokes in the style of Mike Black.
You wrote that in ChatGPT?
Yes. Well, this one is the one I'm using is called Bard. It's by Google.
Okay.
I mean, they're all. I guess they do it, but each one has their own.
Let's hear.
Okay.
Virtual Mike Black jokes.
Okay, here we go. Here are some jokes in the style of Mike Black. I went to the zoo the other day and I saw a baguette in a cage. The zookeeper said it was bred in captivity.
That is insulting, but okay.
Okay. I went to the library the other day and I asked for books about paranoia. The librarian whispered, "They're right behind you."
Darren, did you just open a bunch of fortune cookies and say that you went on ChatGPT?
I went to the doctor the other day and he told me I was morbidly obese. I said, "That's a pretty big word for a little guy." I think your job is secure, dude. I don't think ChatGPT is going to be. Here we go.
Not really worried.
Here's the final one. I went to the beach the other day and I saw a man with a shovel. I asked him what he was doing and he said he was digging for clams. I said, "That's a pretty big clam for a little shovel." And then it says,
So
I hope
I'm noticing a pattern to my comedy that I hadn't noticed before.
Oh, that you go a lot of places. I went to the zoo. Maybe it's because you have that small apartment. You're always trying to get out.
And a lot of telling people that they have a very big item of some kind for being such small people.
That was first draft. Second draft. Let me skip over them. I was walking down the street the other day. I saw a man with a sign that said, "We'll work for food." I said, "I'll give you a job if you can tell me a joke." He said, "What do you call a fish with no eyes?" I said, "Fsh." By the way, I don't think these jokes are good at all. And I also think these are generic. I think that
You think so?
Yeah, I think they give these to any I think, any
You might be onto something, Darren.
Yeah. I went to a concert, but I couldn't find the band. They were all on stage. These are so dumb.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, these are. I thought you were kidding and that you were reading these from like a Blanche Knott joke book or something.
No, this is 100%.
These are the actual jokes that they wrote.
I'll write this. Let me try myself. Create jokes for comedian Darren Carter. I did it. It's funny. I've done it a few times, and sometimes it's like self-deprecating family humor, and sometimes it's the I like my women stuff. So let's see what it does right now. create jokes for comedian Darren Carter. The thing is spinning, it's waiting, it's okay. Yeah, see, these are generic. I went to the doctor, and doctor, I'm worried about my memory. I keep forgetting things. The doctor said, don't worry, I'll give you a pill that will help you remember things. I said, great. What is the pill called? The doctor said, Reminil. I said, Reminil? I don't remember that. That's so stupid.
Wow.
I went to the zoo the other day. I wonder if I went with oh, hey, look. I went to the zoo the other day and I saw a baguette in a cage. I asked the zookeeper, what's the baguette doing? The zookeeper said, that's a breadwinner. Oh, it's similar but different.
It's a hack.
Oh, I hacked from you.
The AI is hacking itself. It's like those old crappy joke writers that would sell the same material to different guys on the road. And,
Totally. Because look at this. I was at the library the other day. I saw a book about paranoia. I took it out and started reading it. The book said, people are watching you. I put the book down, looked around. Everyone was staring at me. See, it's a little similar, but then they switched it up at the end.
Yeah, and then when you would go and confront that guy, no, that's a different joke. See, I told this guy.
Yeah, see?
Look behind him.
No,
right behind him.
Yeah. Give me something to do in AI, then we'll move on from this. Can you think of create a list or?
How about this?
Okay, ask any question. Yeah, I'll do it right now.
Write a comedic story in the style of Darren Carter.
Comedic story in the style of Darren Carter. Okay.
Let's see what Frankenstein comes up with.
Yeah. A friend of mine. Hold on. Is it doing it? Okay, let me do it again. I don't know what happened. Okay.
It can't handle that. It was like, no.
Create a comedic story in the style of Darren Carter. Oh shit. Okay, hold on. Create a Darren Carter. All right, let's see what happens.
It just comes back. Darren Carter does not tell a comedic story.
Exactly. It comes back. Oh, okay, here we go.
It just starts shining a flashlight at you.
Yeah, exactly. My flashlight. I didn't know my computer had a flashlight. What the fudge? Yeah. Here's before we do that. A friend of mine he's an agent, and so I wrote create a list of country clubs within a 60-mile radius of Burbank, California, and then it put out. It was like boom, had 50 country clubs, the addresses and the phone numbers, and that is something that was helpful because before he could have Googled it, but it takes a lot more time, and this was just right there, boom, ready to go. So that's something that could help, I guess. Or I wrote create a fun walk within, of a 3-mile radius of Comedy Store. And it would say head out front door, turn left on Sunset, turn right on Kings Alley or whatever. And it would give you a little fun map or something.
It's telling you to go down alleys and stuff. Off of Sunset.
I know. Go down alley. Yeah, there you will find 2 hookers. Boy, this was fun. No.
It's a much funner walk than is legal.
Take me on a spooky walk. No, here we go. Yeah. Create a comedic story in the style of Darren Carter. Okay, here we go. Sure, here's a comedic story in the style of Darren Carter. It says, I was at the library the other day and I saw a book about paranoia. Oh boy. I took it out and started reading it. The book said, people are always watching you. I put the book down, looked around, everyone was staring at me. I started to panic. I ran out of the library into the street. I ran and ran until I couldn't run anymore. I collapsed on the ground, exhausted. I looked up and saw a man standing over me. He said, are you okay? I said, I think so. He said, what happened? I said, I was reading a book about paranoia and it made me think that everyone was watching me. He said, well, they are. I said, what? He said, I'm a librarian. We are always watching our patrons. I said, oh. He said, but don't worry, we're not judging you. I said, thanks. He said, no problem. Now, why don't you come back inside and finish reading that book? I said, I don't think so. He said, why not? I said, because I'm starting to think that you're watching me too. He said, but of course I'm watching you. I'm a librarian. I said, well, I'm going home. I got up and started to walk away. He said, wait, I have something for you. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a book. He said, this is for you. I took the book and looked at it. It was a book about anxiety. I said, thanks. He said, no problem. I hope it helps. I put the book in my bag and walked away. I looked back over my shoulder and saw the librarian watching me. I smiled and waved. He smiled and waved back. I walked home feeling a little bit better. I knew that I wasn't the only one who was struggling with anxiety, and I knew that there were people who were always there to help. The end.
I will give you $10,000 to tell that story on stage.
I know, dude. That's so stupid.
It's
Oh,
not only
gosh.
what's interesting to me is not only is it stupid, it's a really ham-fisted way of artificial intelligence telling people that are paranoid about artificial intelligence that everything is going to be all right.
Yeah, we're all paranoid and have anxiety about AI, and then all these stories and suggestions are like, no, you're going to be fine.
No, AI is here to help you, and we're great. Don't you see? Just take our book from the library. And of course we're watching you, but that's a good thing.
That's a good thing. We're listening with our microphones. I know, it's like...
We're just a kindly librarian.
Dude, I remember years ago, like in my first apartment, we had roommates, and I was like, wow, wouldn't that be weird if, like, when you hung your phone up, the microphones could still hear you? And
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was kind of
yeah.
And then I think I heard it in a song or I thought about it, but I was like, what if the TV is watching you back? And then of course there was a certain brand of TV that could do that. These smart TVs.
Yeah, that's and now it's that technology is in everything. For a while there, it was there's always competition between like PlayStation and Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation had a built-in camera, and they were like, part of their slogan was, it's always watching, like it's ready for whenever you need it or whatever. And it's like, it's also just downloading your information to who knows where, all your stuff is very accessible,
Who was that? Who said it's always watching? I like that.
I think it was PlayStation. It was either PlayStation or Xbox.
I think I like that. I remember that.
And yeah, I think it was PlayStation, because Xbox, it was like you can add a camera if you want to, but you don't have to, But with the PlayStation, it came standard, which was supposed to be a good thing. But it's like, okay, now there's a camera in your apartment facing you at all times,
Yeah.
And there have been people that it's happened to a lot of influencers where they accidentally leave their camera on after like playing a game, and then they do something very private and they leave it on for all their followers to see.
Oh, that's right. I think some big person got in trouble with that on Twitch, I think. I'm sure that's happened more than once.
Yeah. And I think some of them do it intentionally, but
oops, did I leave this on? And and then they plug their own
to be a beautiful model.
And they plug their OnlyFans.
But yeah, then there are other ones that are like, they've been holding in a fart that whole time and they just let her rip, and it's like, no.
Finally, Emma.
Yeah.
That's
so it's Big Brother is alive and kicking. The only thing is, it's like, I don't think it all is reporting to one big control freak. I think it's just a lot of stuff reporting out to everybody.
Yeah. I have this book. I was wondering if there's anything positive that would like. Let me see if there's any famous quotes in here about. Speaking of anxiety. Oh yeah. The beginning. Let me see if there's any good quotes on anxiety. Wait, what am I doing reading a book? Hold on, I could just go to that ChatGPT and ask. Hold on. Let's see.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's done a great job so far.
All right, words of wisdom about anxiety. How do you spell anxiety again? A-N-X-I-E-T-Y. Okay, good. I'm anxious about spelling the word anxiety.
You should be, if it took you that long.
Here are some words of wisdom about anxiety. Oh, this is helpful, I guess. This is from Robert Louis Stevenson. Anxiety is a thin stream of fear trickling through the mind. Wait, how is that helping me? Okay. This is a Swedish proverb. Worry often gives a small thing a big shadow. This isn't really helping me. All right.
Well, that's very true, though.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of the things that you worry about. I have kind of a mantra that I don't really live by it as much as I would like to, but I think it's kind of the key to anxiety. And it is less dreading, more doing.
That's true. And you know what? Yeah.
Yeah, by that, it really means, like, if there's anything you can do about what you're worried about, do it. And then once you've done that, you can at least go, well, I've done all that I can do about that situation.
Right.
And that should alleviate some of the anxiety, at least. There's some things you just can't control. But, like, for me, like, in the past month, my apartment is very cramped and full of stuff because over the pandemic, I just ordered a lot of stuff off of Amazon and wasn't really bothering with opening every box. And so it kind of looks like I just moved in. And now I'm at the point where it's like, I need to take care of this. But I've been dreading doing that for so long that it's built this unreasonable sort of fear of it in my head. But when I look at a certain area and I go, I'm going to clean that area today and make that as nice as I can possibly make it look today.
Yeah.
And I think, oh, that's going to take a week to do. And it turns out it takes like a half hour.
Yeah.
And it's because I let the anxiety and fear build this mythology about it, when really it was like, no, it's just one of about 20 things that you need to do in this apartment, and it'll be fine.
Right.
And each one takes a lot less time than you think it does when you start doing it.
There's two things I think of. My friend, I listen to this, every now and then there's this guy that I listen to, Jesse Lee Peterson, and I love his words of wisdom on that. He talks about all thoughts are lies. So when you're like, oh, what if I did it? All thoughts are lies. And I think about that,
Yeah.
where you're like, oh. And another thing I was going to say is, sadly, a friend of mine, his brother passed away, and he had to fly out. And think about that. He had to take care of his brother's, he was in Florida for a month, and he's going to go back, but he had to basically, unexpectedly wrap up his entire life, clean out the guy's house, and he said the same thing. He's like, man, he had stuff that just built up, and he had paperwork that he hadn't, that was stuff from 20 years ago, tax stuff. He's like, nah, man, 7 years, the IRS only goes back. You don't need to have receipts from 2001, just get.
Oh yeah. I found a box of receipts from 2016, and I was like, what are you doing?
Right.
You don't need this.
Yeah.
And really anymore, I don't think you need receipts. I think pretty much everything you could get off your credit report,
right,
that you actually would need. It's how often do you pay for anything in cash anymore? So I think we're just wasting a lot of paper nowadays on a lot of stuff like that,
Yeah, I got to go through my closet, man, because there's he gave me a good tip. He's like, man, if I haven't worn something in the last year, I throw it away, man. I throw it out. And, and I'm like, well, what if I need it for a costume or a character? Or he's right though. There's a lot of stuff.
You can buy it again.
Yes, exactly. I'm like,
you can buy it when you actually need it, instead of it taking up space in your life.
Yeah, I hope my wife doesn't hear this episode, because she's just
gonna buy everything again.
She's like, shout out to my wife. She's constantly telling me. No, I wouldn't say constantly, but she's like, hey, you want to clean out the, and so I'll take a little stuff out, but I'm like, yeah, I really need to. There's shirts in there that I'm like, I'm not going to wear these shirts,
Your dog is like, hey, I haven't done anything in a year. I better get to work.
I know. Yeah, for sure, man. But What else is happening? Anything else happening before we wrap up this episode? I want to thank you guys. By the way, do us a huge favor. Subscribe. That way you'll always know when a new episode comes out. So you don't have to think like what episode or what podcast. You just, boom, you subscribe to Pocket Party. Whatever platform you're on, you'll know right when a new episode comes out.
Yeah. And if you have a bunch of old episodes taking up space, clear them out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get those off your device or share them at least,
But
did you have a yard sale?
I did, and I got a real bad sunburn. I always do when I throw one. And I thought it had healed, and then today I was peeling like a lizard. I was just like, oh no.
You don't wear sunscreen?
I do, but it doesn't matter. At a certain point, I'm just out there too long, and I'm just baking in sunscreen basically.
Dude, you're like me. I'm like, I put the sunscreen on and then a big hat. I got a big straw hat. I look like the Invisible Man when he wants to be seen.
Yeah, I had it for most of the day, and then I took like a half hour off, but it was right when the sun was at its peak. And I had to go like from my sale to my garage and just got lasered basically by the sun.
How was it having a yard sale? I've never had one. I mean, I've been to them and I've walked by them, but what was it like to throw your own yard sale? Was it kind of cool?
They're a lot of fun. I've done it before, and I have pretty unique sort of stuff, so it's not like typical like clothes and books and stuff. It's very eye-catching sort of like collectibles and that sort of thing. And what always happens is at least once an hour someone comes by and goes, oh, I'm going to tell my friend about this and he's going to come right over. He loves this kind of stuff. That friend never, ever, ever shows up.
Yeah.
But he's like, oh, he'll probably buy all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, I've never had that experience. But
do you put prices on each item, or you just they don't do that anymore? Or they just go, how much for this, and then you just say,
I just talk to people, and like you have to be careful because wackos come up and talk to you, and you don't realize they're crazy until you've talked to them for a little bit. Like one guy was like, I'll buy this, but let me get your number in case something goes wrong with it. I was like, no. And he was like, you don't want to give me your number? And I was like, no. And he was like, well, then you've lost a sale. I was like, no, I didn't. I don't. Exactly. You don't have any money and you're insane, so I'm not gonna worry about it.
I wonder if you could give them like some sort of email, like MikeBlackYardSale@gmail.com or something.
No, I'm not doing that, because what happens then is someone buys a thing, then they break it, and then they have buyer's remorse about it, and then they go, "Here, you sold me a broken thing," and it's like, no, I didn't. You're just crazy.
Yeah. What was the highest item like that you were like you were like, okay, this is my big, high priced item?
Well, I had a thing, but it didn't really sell. It was
be careful though, because you're like, it means I still own it. I had a rare Rolex watch.
No, it's nothing like that. But it was it was just a Star Wars vehicle that was pretty cool. It was like one that you could control with your phone.
Oh, cool.
And I hadn't taken it out of the box or anything like that. And I was like, I bet that'll sell today, because I was selling it for a steal. And a few people looked at it and kind of thought about it. And then they were like, no, I'm going to buy this other stuff. And I noticed what can happen with stuff like that is people get overwhelmed with choices. If you have too much out there, that your stuff starts competing with itself,
Yeah, they say that happens with coffee too. Like if there's just like 3 types of coffee, then it's easier to sell than like, 1,500 versions. You're like, whoa. Yeah.
Yeah. People just go, no, I don't know anymore, And, so it's better to just have a few cool things than 50 million different things.
And was there anything that you were like, man, this is hard to part with, but I got to get rid of it?
No, not really. I kind of feel like if something is giving you anxiety like that, then you still need it.
Yeah.
Or you still it still is going to serve some purpose for you, even if you haven't messed with it for a couple of years. It's like maybe on some level you knew that, like, well, I'm not going to need this right now, but eventually I'm going to need it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, because that happens with when you raise a child. You know, you have like their baby blanket, then you have all the toys when they were a certain age, but then they get to the point where you're like, man, this is just taking up a lot of space, and they're 15 now, and they're not, or whatever.
Get rid of the kid.
Yeah,
just toss them out.
Get rid of the kid and keep the toys.
This kid's causing me a lot of anxiety.
A lot of anxiety. Let me go to AI and deal with my anxiety through AI.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Sorry, son, you've been replaced with AI.
Yeah. It's fun because Austin's cute, man. AusTheBassBoss. Go check him out, you guys. Follow him on all social media. Instagram. He's a musician, and he's hilarious.
Yeah, he's really cool.
Sometimes he'll act like a robot boy. He'll be like, I am artificial intelligence. I am AI. I am Austin whatever. AI Austin Intelligence.
Austin 2000.
Yeah. And he goofs around with it. But yeah, we wrote I typed in AI, like, write a song in the style of AusTheBassBoss. And it spit out a pretty cool song. And I wrote, create a country song in the style of, and it did both. They were good enough to where, I mean, I'm sure they weren't great, but it was kind of fun to see, at least the first time. And then, so we printed them out, and when my wife picked them up from school, she was like, look what we came up with on AI.
I'd be careful now after that joke sampling.
Oh, I know, right? They're just giving these songs to everybody.
Yeah, everyone out there. You know, Justin Bieber's going to release his version of that song.
Oh, I know. Give me one more.
Justin Bieber just released a new song called AusTheBassBoss.
AusTheBassBoss. Baby, baby, I'm like AusTheBassBoss. What the fudge? Oh, that'd be funny. Let's do one last one. Create something in the style of something or whatever. Do you got one? Let's see.
Let's see. How about create a song about the Pocket Party podcast in the style of Elvis?
Ooh, I like that. Okay, here we go. Create a song.
You might want to specify Elvis Presley.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Create a song about Darren Carter's Pocket Party podcast in the style of Elvis Presley. All right. It's working. It's creating. Here we go. Ooh, it has verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus, bridge, chorus. Wow, here we go. Here we go. I'll do it as Elvis. I'm Darren Carter, and I'm here to say I've got a podcast that's going to blow your mind away. It's called Pocket Party, and it's the best thing since sliced bread. So come on down and join the party. You won't be sorry. And then here's the chorus. Pocket Party, a Pocket Party, it's the best podcast in town. We got laughs, we got music, we got fun. So come on down and join the party, you won't be sorry. Verse 2. We've got interviews with your favorite comedians. We've got music from your favorite bands. We've got stories that will make you laugh and cry. And we've got everything in between. Chorus. Pocket Party, it's the best podcast in town. We've got laughs, we've got music, we've got fun. So come on down and join the party, you won't be sorry. Bridge. So what are you waiting for? Come on down and join the party. We're waiting for you. And the final chorus. Pocket Party, it's the best podcast in town. We got laughs, we got music, we got fun. So come on down and join the party, you won't be sorry.
Oh, Darren Carter, this is wonderful. This music you play is like an angel's chorus to my ears. I cannot wait to promote this show and the wonderful AI that created it for you.
Is this Colonel Tom Parker, Elvis's manager?
Yes, I have once again risen from the grave to promote your show because there are so many people that love Darren Carter and he's the party starter. And you and I are like two lost children, and we are going to promote this show together. And I shall go to Darren's website, the official Darren Carter Party Starter website. We have shirts that say, I love Darren Carter, shirts that say, I hate Darren Carter. It's going to be wonderful.
Pocket Party, it's the best podcast in town.
Wow. We just got taken over by AI. Wow, Elvis songs and Colonel Tom Parker from Beyond the Grave. All right, Mike, love you, buddy. We'll talk soon. Thanks for, again, spending part of your day with us, you guys. And thank you, Mike Black. And if you get a chance, go follow Mike Black and subscribe to the Pocket Party Podcast and check out his next yard sale.
All right, goodbye.
You got it. Bye.
A pocket party, a pocket party.
That's pretty cool. Well, look at you. You made it all the way through. What can I say? Thank you so much. And I know I keep asking you guys to do this, but subscribe to my YouTube channel, Darren Carter. Subscribe to the Pocket Party. And share the links. The more you share, the more you comment, the more you hit like, the more interaction. It just helps. God bless you. Have a great day. We'll see you soon. Don't hurt nobody. Be careful.
Everybody listen to Darren Carter. We all know he's the party starter. So if you want to listen to a podcast for free, then listen to the Pocket Party.